what's up, y'all? We're back, and of course, this is the Super Bowl predictions video, and it's really, really wild, just it's been a hell of a season, I gotta say. I mean, needless to say, there are a lot of things for fan bases all across the league and the country. Obviously, it's been something else throughout, and I don't know any other way to look at it, of course, and it's just really, really wild. I didn't think I was going to be actually kind of caught in a moment about it as I'm talking about it, but I guess that's where we'll actually move along here and get to talking about the game, and it's going to be a hell of a one indeed because, you've got probably easily the two best teams in the league, and I think we expected this to be the case from the beginning. Of course, we got Eagles versus Chiefs, and of course, you can't look at this without thinking about the coaches. I mean, everything about what all these individuals do just goes a really, really long way. Of course, everyone from Matt Nagy, Steve Spagnuolo, Kellen Moore, and Vic Fangio, who, of course, all of us here in Denver Broncos country are very, very familiar with. And then, of course, the two head coaches, Nick Sirianni and Andy Reid, all of which, other than Kellen Moore, I'm not sure if Nagy was there either, but for the most part, now that I think about it, I guess neither was Fangio. Either way, at the very least, we'll talk about Reid and Sirianni in a moment, but at least Spagnuolo was around the last time these two teams met in the Super Bowl out in Arizona, which I gotta say it was a hell of a game. Of course, marred with a lot of controversy with that last PI call. I mean, it is what it is. You gotta hope that that's not something we see with this game in particular, because I think that's the last thing that we want. And I'll be perfectly honest, as a Broncos fan, I really don't want to see this three-peat, especially because it's the Chiefs. Really and truly to not let all of that get so overblown as really and truly it honestly has. And admittedly, I play something of a part in that as well, but the reality of it is just objectively speaking, the preference is for the Eagles to win. Obviously, I mean, I'm probably being a little more obvious than that for one reason or another. I'm not sure why that would be, but I look good, right? Don't I look good? Don't I look good? But nonetheless, in all seriousness, it's going to come down to coaching. I think, as cliche as that may sound, that's just everything that it always boils down to with these games, with every single game, but these especially. I mean, you wouldn't have the Super Bowl being what it is if you don't have the staffs on both sides working tirelessly, keeping all the players in the best frame of mind, best preparation that you can possibly get them in. But all in all, I look forward to the chess matchup, and it's going to be fun, especially when, again, you think about the two head honchos in charge. And, again, Nick Sirianni, Andy Reid. Again, we're doing this round two. They met again in Kansas City, I believe, the following season, which the Eagles ended up winning that one. A lot of people kind of blew out of proportion Nick Sirianni celebrating the fact that he beat him. But, it is what it is. That's just what happened at the time. I gotta say that these two might be the two better head coaches in the league, and there's a reason for that. They're both in this matchup again for the second time in 3 years, and it's bound to be something incredible. And again, if it's just something to where it works out where, again, it comes down to the chess match between not only the two head coaches, but both staffs, I think that's about all we could ask for. And I think what I wanted to say earlier is that if it comes down to the Chiefs winning, which I really don't want to see, I don't want to see the three-peat in this case. They're not the Bulls, they're not MJ, but I digress. I won't mind it as much as long as it doesn't come down to a late flag to where, or maybe even a bad no call. I just want it to be clear as day, as a lot of people really want, and for good reason, because it's just, honestly, the last time around, again, it was marred with controversy, and that's really all it is. People don't look at it like that, and of course, it's easy to brush that off, and it's fine that they do. I don't mind that so much, but we can't overlook the reality that it still exists the way that it does. But nonetheless, hopefully that's all out of the picture, because it's just got to be said again. Two of the best head coaches in the game today, and both of them are going to go down as all-time greats when it's all said and done. And speaking of the all-time greats, we got to talk about the QB matchup, man. Mahomes versus Hurts again. One more time. I mean, we're going to find out how this winds up working out. As I got to tell you, the last time around, Jalen did nothing to cost him, again, the game. I mean, yes, there was the strip sack return, which, as I recall, was either at the end of the first half or early in the second half. But either way, that was probably the one blemish you could put on Jalen Hurts. Otherwise, he put on a masterpiece. Straight up masterpiece, and I don't know any other way to look at it. I mean, you got to factor in running backs that weren't a part of the game the last time around in Kareem Hunt, and most especially an MVP candidate in Saquon Barkley, Offensive Player of the Year, I should say. I'm not sure that he's not going to end up being the difference this time around, but obviously all eyes are going to be on Mahomes and Hurts. Patrick versus Jalen, that's going to be the marquee matchup. And for, again, as many people that want to boycott the game the way that they want to do, that's up to them. I don't hold that against them, but, it is what it is. I look forward to this being an incredible matchup, a great contest of competitive will, and hopefully the refs don't matter nearly as much as they seem to have, whether it's been in the last Super Bowl or any other game the Chiefs have been involved in. And hell, people seem to have a lot of the same complaints about the Eagles too. So again, for that reason alone, hopefully we don't see that. Now, as far as the final score and who my winner is, I'm not gonna lie, throughout the entirety of the week, and even in the days leading up to this, it was just really, really tough, because you don't want to bet against Mahomes. You don't want to pick against the Chiefs, because they wind up burning you in the long run. And I'm not going to lie, I'm actually having been guilty of that in the past before. That said, I actually picked the Chiefs to beat the Buccaneers a few years back in 2020, and look how that turned out. So, with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and say fuck it. If I get burned, I get burned. I don't really care. It's just nothing new at this point. It'll just be that much more irritating for the next 7-8 months, knowing that we got to deal with a three-peat. But, again, I'm going to say to fuck with that. Eagles, this time, I think it's going to go a little bit higher in terms of scoring. I'm going to say something along the lines of 41-35. And largely because of the fact that I do feel like there is going to be a bit of a two-score difference in the favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe in Saquon. I believe in their defense. And more than anything else, I also believe that even for insurmountable as the odds may seem to be, we all saw what happened with the Patriots against the Falcons years ago, 28-3. I mean, I don't know necessarily that we're going to get any of that kind of thing, but I imagine that the Chiefs are going to do everything they can to keep it close, but the last-ditch effort is going to fall short for them. So with that in mind, that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it from there. Y'all know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know who y'all got. Chiefs, Eagles. I mean, ought to be fun one way or another. Probably not as much fun if the Chiefs win. So go Birds. But with that in mind, go Broncos as well. I'll just leave it at that and just shut the hell up and move on. I got to get these up. I'm cutting this a lot closer to game time than I wanted, within an hour now. So with that in mind, again, y'all know what it is. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think, who y'all got in the game. And with that being said, this has been your time with A and J, and I appreciate y'all spending it with me.